today. So we have Kim, who's a member of the Health and Wellness Steering Committee representing IGA. And we have Fick from Johnson & Johnson, and Kim and Fick lead together our work stream on employee health and wellness. And as I mentioned, I work with the members of the CGF to drive the health and wellness agenda. So I'll just bring you through the agenda, what we're going to go through in the slides over the next 30 or so minutes. So we wanted to give you the story behind the commitment in two aspects, the collective aspect, so the 400 members of the Consumer Goods Forum, what we can do together and why we think this is really the right thing to do. We wanted to give you the individual perspective. We're all employees and we're all interested in our own health and wellness. We wanted to give you both stories behind the commitment. Then we're going to take you through some insights and learnings, and Kim and Fick will share some insights from their own experience of their own companies with their employee health and wellness programs. I'll take you through what we're doing in terms of measurement and reporting, so how we at the CGF will see where we will be with this commitment in 2016 and how we will report to the outside world on our progress. What many of our member companies ask us for are some tips and tricks on how to get started. So Kim and Fick will give you some of their advice of what they've done, and you'll also see a toolkit that we have put together for the full membership of the Consumer Goods Forum, just to give you more insights on how to get started with this commitment. And then Kim will take us through what's next for the employee health and wellness work stream, and how we need your input to help really drive this across the full membership of the CGF. And as I mentioned, we will have ample time at the end of the webinar for a Q&A. And as you know, as a member, one of our mandates at the CGF is really to share knowledge and best practices. So I would ask you to use the time today or after this webinar if you want to connect with Kim, Fick, or myself to ask questions, to challenge us, to give your input on our agenda or anything you want to know more about or you want to get involved. We're here to answer your questions, so please do take the time either at the end of the webinar or by email. We're very happy to get back to you after the webinar. So I'll hand you over to Fick to bring us to kick off the content of the webinar and the story behind the commitment on health and wellness. Fick.
Well, thank you, Sharon, and to all, really a pleasure and an honor to address this group with regard to the Consumer Goods Forum and this big commitment, and certainly sharing some of the behind the commitment, direction. And I want to start by saying, certainly when I look at what the forces have been, achieving or trying to achieve, it really talks about that bold statement that the vision of having or building better lives through better business. And I think you all would agree, as members of this forum, that good health is good business, and there's a lot out there that reflect on it. And part of this commitment certainly is, is about the shared value, a shared direction, a shared vision for all. When we look at health and wellness, it is really about empowering members, the members for their employees, but also the millions of consumers, the customers, the shoppers, to really look into living healthier and lives, and also how do you improve the quality of the business by doing just that. And it is really coming from the Consumer Goods Forum board who has decided a focus on, as Sharon has indicated, what we are talking about today is really more on the employee, health and employee health and wellness. But the board actually had a vision of focusing on 4 areas of importance for the forum, and how that is critical for all members to be engaged, to be active in it, and to be interactive in addressing those 4 areas. And certainly, as you look into the website, you can certainly look at those 4 areas of critical importance, and certainly really cover the spectrum and the holistic approach to overall health and wellness, and what does it mean, and what's the direction in it. Certainly the toolkit which we are going to touch on is about getting more of alignment with all of you and engagement to set the stage for, as I mentioned, why and how can we show that good health is good business, learn from each other, and certainly set the stage for 2016, and really start to implement and actually show the leadership that the Consumer Good Forum can take in leading the way in the industry at large, being a powerhouse in shaping health, shaping wellness as it should be. So certainly one of those first areas of attention was the activation of the toolkit, and I do believe really what you see is a collective thought, collective work, hard work by all members of the steering committee, the work teams that have been in place for quite some time now, and it's really a great way to define and refine the direction of the what, the how, and the why all together. So I want to set the stage by saying this is really going to be leading into a lot more work for better health and certainly better business. So with that, maybe we can move to the next slide.
Thank you, Fick. And Fick, if you could increase your volume, that would be great. We just have a little bit of a difficult time to hear you, so just pump up the volume, as they say. And speaking of volume, what we wanted to do before we get really in depth into, Fick has given the collective perspective behind the commitment. We wanted to give you a message from our board sponsors. The Health and Wellness Pillar is sponsored by 2 CEOs who sit on our board, and they, in a 3-minute video, give us an outline on why they're so committed to our work on health and wellness. And I think when we watch this video together, it puts the health and wellness commitment into, it sets the scene, and it will give you the overall context and perspective of why we really believe this is something that collectively we can have a huge impact on employees' health and wellness around the globe. So it is a video, so there may be a slight delay between voice and image. So it's 3 minutes, and we will have connect back after the video. So thank you.
So health and wellness is at the core of the Consumer Goods Forum. Our mission is to bring together consumer goods manufacturers and retailers so that they can work collaboratively on positive change. In health and wellness, we're committed to being part of the solution to this huge global issue. We know that our members can make a big difference. They include healthcare companies, beauty and personal care companies, and of course, food and beverage companies, both manufacturers and retailers. To harness these collaborative efforts, we've agreed on a set of health and wellness resolutions and commitments. We then work with our members, providing them with practical support and guidance on how to implement those resolutions and commitments. Then we bring our members together so that they can learn from each other how manufacturers and retailers can collaborate to help people live healthier lives. Lastly, and to follow up on this work, we measure progress every year.
I'm committed to the Health and Wellness Initiative because health and wellness is at the end the base of healthy, sustainable societies.
I strongly believe that in the society we're in, where people get older, we also need to take care that they remain healthy. What we can do with foods, I think, is a great help for them. This topic is key for the human being and for the planet. We can help customers really to select in the stores where we are and to help them to find the right products. That's where really our responsibility lies as an organization, as a retailer. Another aspect is educating our own staff, also for us as a company, to learn how you help your own staff to live healthier, and what they can do in their own balance of life is important. We have now to start working according to these resolutions and to deliver.
As an industry, connecting with all partners who are connected with our activity as a company, we can scale up so much more.
Now we invite our members to embrace our collaborative efforts and work with us to enable our industry to demonstrate leadership in the health and wellness space. We will, of course, be connecting with our network during the course of this year to monitor and learn from the continuous effort on implementation and innovation. And we'll continue to report on progress. Our members are committed to working in the area of health and wellness and to empowering consumers, ensuring long-term sustainable business growth. We in the Consumer Goods Forum will continue to provide the platform for industry collaboration on health and wellness and harness the enormous possibilities to be part of the solution for healthier consumers, healthier employees, and healthier communities. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. So you have seen now the setting the scene, the context, the real commitment that we have from our board, and that we want to really galvanize collective action across the 400 members of the CGF. And I will now hand you over to Kim, who's going to give us the other story behind the commitment, the personal aspect of our commitment on employee health and wellness. Kim.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us today. And as you heard from Vic and Sharon and from the video, this has been just a really nice stream of work for us. And as we started, Vic and I, on this journey of building this together with our team, we really took the perspective that our employees are customers too. And when you think about it from a business perspective, and as a dietitian, you want to think about that person behind the message. And when you're a business, of course, the resources that we have are limited, and you think about the fact that we can't be everything to everyone. So how do we really be mindful of our resources, our company values, and really taking care of our customers and our employees at the same time? So we approached the chapter of the toolkit for employee health and wellness with that thinking, and really looking to build something that would resonate with both our customers and our employees. And the reason we wanted to do that is, as you heard in the video, this is about our customers, our employees, and the communities. And when we really put all of that together, oftentimes our employees are in our communities. They're living and working in neighbors with our customers. They're shopping our stores. They're buying our products. And so we thought, you know, if we put that together and we can inspire companies to do more with less, or really streamline the resource process, really we're going to ultimately have a win-win-win situation, because you're meeting your goals to be committed to health and wellness, you're helping your employees meet their personal health goals and take care of their families, and ultimately that helps them become natural advocates for whatever consumer-facing health and wellness program is developed, because it's helping them, they understand it, and they're living it right along with us. So I think that's really the spirit of kind of what you will see when you visit the chapter in the toolkit, and we'll give you the website at the end so you can see everything that the group's been doing for the whole toolkit. But I want to share what IGA has done on the next slide, because right around the same time that we launched the toolkit from Consumer Goods Forum, IGA actually launched our Better Choices program. It's a website that's consumer facing, and we built it with credible content from multiple resources. And what you see on the screen are the topics really that we cover. So we think about planning and shopping, we think about overall health and wellness, food safety, which is wonderful, we're talking about that because it's Food Safety Month in September, and then recipes and how-tos, because as you've probably all experienced, people's cooking skills, time, interest, needs are very strapped these days. And so if we can help them learn how to prepare meals and better utilize what they're buying, they're more apt to have success, which is going to give them confidence to come back and try again. And when we built this, we have two streams of communication that are a steady drumbeat, if you will. We have an insider internal blog for our retailers, and we talk about what's coming up on the Better Choices website. And then the content on the Better Choices website is consumer-facing and public-facing, but we invite our employees and our customers to partake of this information, share it through social media, and it's relevant and changed every month. So for example, in August we have back to school. This month we've got food safety, and it's Fruit and Veggie More Matters month. So we really try to make that relevant, but we also talk in a way that it's relevant to why it's helpful for the customer, so our stores know and feel good about sharing it, but it's also inviting everyone to partake of that information and have that dialogue and really build that feeling of community through credible resources. So that's kind of where we are, and like I said, we just launched in June, and the reception has been wonderful, and I've gotten some great conversations going with our retailers. We know our customers are visiting the website, and on that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Vic to share his insights and learnings as well.
Well, thank you, Kim, and I hope my voice is getting a little bit clearer. I don't know if it is, but let me know if you're hearing me better.
Yeah, great.
It's perfect.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great to hear. Yeah, I do believe. I think to continue on the story and the journey that we are all about to start together, we want to share some of what our learning over the years within the Johnson & Johnson family of companies. And one of the insights I'd like to share with you, that it is about establishing not just a set of programs, but really looking at it from a cultural perspective, which really touches on the organization, but also on the people and the individuals. And part of what we have seen that works is to incorporate those types of inputs and health program within the business itself. You have to really build it within the value system within Johnson & Johnson. As any of the members on this forum, we touch 1 billion person every single day. Caring for the people at large is critical, and as Kim said, we see this as critical to also our workforce and our population at large, and part of it is us incorporating health objectives into the way how we conduct day-to-day business, and that was one of the things we have done to embed health as part of the imperatives of the business, and I do believe that's a good way of looking at it as you start to address your journey and start it. If I move into the next area that we have learned through the years, by all means, and as you heard from the chairmen on the video and from senior representative of businesses, leadership support and commitment is very critical to success of such program and such effort. And I will quote one of our statement that made by our CEO, which really is built on our credo, which is our value system. And basically what he said is, we focus on helping people around the world live longer, healthier, and happier lives. And this begins with our own employees. As business leaders, we have the opportunity to create an environment where employees can actively engage in their health and achieve their best self at work, at home, and in their communities. That's Alex Borsky, CEO of Johnson & Johnson. So I encourage you, as we move through this and open the dialogue for us for the future, is to focus on that area and set the stage for it. Certainly, setting standards and setting, short as well as long-term goals is something that has worked for us. And again, you can set small steps to start and move forward. And we incorporate our health into our overall sustainability goals. And those are publicly shared, which really allow us to also hold the business units committed and accountable for achieving those targets and goals. The next learning that I want to share with you is we are a global enterprise. And as you know, Johnson & Johnson is very decentralized. So we have many companies around the world. We are, in 60+ countries, 200+ business units serving, the world at large, from pharmaceutical to diagnostics to consumer goods. Doing, a phased approach as you roll out program is critical. And I want to just mention, like implementing, for example, tobacco-free workplaces around the world. You really have to start early. You have to test it. You have to and ask the voice of the customers that you're serving how to do it, and where can you start small and large. And then the last area is really about looking holistically at your approach to health and employee health and wellness, and really ensure the focus on prevention. I do believe that's always an area where we sometimes miss the mark on, but prevention from primary to secondary to tertiary is critical. And certainly linking business performance to health performance, that actually leads to positive health, well-being, and economic results by all means. So by closing on the insight and learning, I'll sum it in a few, in one line. One is think big, and thinking big does help you to get where you want to be. We want to have the healthiest workforce in the world. That's thinking big. Start small. Really, you do not want to go big at the beginning from an implementation. Start small, do the pilots, do testing, and launch gradually and phase the approach. And then act fast. Do not hesitate. Do not wait long. I do believe acting fast in that space is very critical. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Sharon to share with us her next area with regard to measurement and reporting.
Thank you very much, Vic. I want to, from a CGF perspective, really in terms of the collective employee health and wellness commitment, just share the message with you that it is so important for us to be able to measure your progress, and it really enables us to manage the different work streams that we have in the health and wellness pillar. It really helps us to tell the positive story of what the industry is doing and the goals that you have in health and wellness and how you're taking action. In terms of the employee health and wellness commitment, we're launching for the second year our global health and wellness survey. We'll be launching that next week. So you'll all be receiving an email from me or from Peter Friedman, our Managing Director, to really ask you to share your data and let us know where you are in terms of implementation of your employee health and wellness program, if you have a policy, if it's made public, and enable us to craft that positive story on behalf of the industry. And what we will do is we will share one positive message on your progress and how we're looking after our own people. And this report will be shared with key stakeholders around the world in January 2016. So you'll receive the email to invite you to complete the survey next week, looking at the 4 commitments that the Consumer Goods Forum Health and Wellness Pillar has made, and please do take the time. We really, really appreciate the time and effort that you put into that survey. It is hugely beneficial for the CGF to really drive forward this positive agenda. So Kim and Fick are going to one of the areas that we hear from our members when we make commitments and resolutions in a specific area. The feedback is, well, how do I get started? Where many companies are at different stages in innovation in terms of implementation of the commitment. Some companies are starting, some have very advanced programs, but many of the questions that we receive here at the CGF is how do you get started? So Kim and Fick, if you could give us some tips for companies to either get their employee health and wellness started or keep the momentum going. Thank you.
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. Thank you, Sharon. And you know, as you heard from both Fick and me earlier, we really encourage people to start by taking a step back and looking at your company's values and what aligns with the system and organizational structure that you have. Because when you start with that, it really does help that health and wellness become embedded into the culture that already exists. And I'm a dietitian, I love to say the little things become the big things, but maybe it's as small as Fick said, start small. What are you serving at lunch, at snack time? What kinds of food opportunities are there? Is standing or walking during meetings encouraged? Some of those small things can make such a big difference in a person's day. So it is a big commitment to think about it, but when you start to pilot it, you start to talk to the people who you are trying to serve with this. To Fick's point, if you can survey your employees and really find out what's going on, try a few different things, it's surprising how all of a sudden easy it is to start. So those are a few of my ideas, and I'll turn it over to you, Fick.
Thank you, Kim and Sharon. Really appreciated the opportunity to share with the members again some of the how to get started. And I would add to what Kim reflected on is, one of the key things is really to make this, this is really established by the members and for the members. So we all have to connect on it. We should be able to encourage each other to build on it. If we are as a network, looking at ways, for example, I mentioned earlier, how do you implement a tobacco-free workplace policy around the world, if you will, or even in the U.S. or elsewhere? We can learn from each other, and I would encourage you to use this forum, reach out under this pillar of employee health and wellness, and ask the question, how can I do this? And what it would take to do it? What are the obstacles, and how can I get over the obstacles? So I would encourage you, my word here is about encouragement, that you should not try to reinvent the wheel. Many of the members on the call, as well as those who will be viewing this later on or seeing it later on, can reach to each other and really take that approach. The other couple of comments I would like to mention, sometimes employee health and wellness might be viewed as a transactional element within a corporation, and I would encourage you that you want to really address it, bring it up to the leaders. If we within the Consumer Goods Forum want to lead and lead by example, we want to really change the conversation from health being as a cost, viewed as a cost, to health being viewed as an investment. And I would encourage you to challenge that and to change that conversation and try to address it from that. The other last point I would like to share with you, again, as Kim stated, start with simple steps, basic step approach, a maturity ladder, if you will, whatever you want to call it. But look at it from just, simple things. It doesn't need also a lot of investment. It could be really looking at your environment, looking at your population, looking at the program you're offering, and try to build on that as you move forward through this journey that Sharon indicated, that we certainly want to show we are really making progress in addressing the area of employee health and wellness. So I ask certainly that you look at it from that angle, and that you certainly work on that culture that we talked about, and to try to build it further moving forward. The toolkit really will, as we all mentioned earlier, it's really a good guide for you to start to work on those areas, those steps, and to, as I mentioned, learn from each other, and hoping this is only the beginning for our dialogue. I'll turn it
Thank you, Vic.
to your question.
So we want to give you a quick overview of what's next. Of course, with the upcoming date on the commitment. So Kim is just going to take us through what's next as we wrap up and we move to Q&A. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sharon. Yes, so as you heard and as you're seeing on the screen, 2016 is really a milestone for employee health and wellness. So we really encourage you to visit the toolkit. And as you heard from Vic, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've got lovely examples from various sizes and different companies within our employee health and wellness chapter. And we strongly encourage you to check those out for inspiration. And then as far as sustaining efforts go, we know that once a commitment is made to health and wellness, and specifically for today's conversation, employee health and wellness, how can we sustain those efforts and what do we need to do? So as you begin your planning process, as Vic laid out, what are you going to do now? How is that going to look in the future? And what are those steps that you need to take in between? And as you do get the survey, we really would appreciate you reporting on your progress and letting us know what you're doing. And then if you're comfortable sharing one of your examples that we can highlight in the chapter to really showcase the variety and the deep richness that health and wellness can mean based on the type of company and atmosphere that you have. And then if you want to work with us, we would welcome that. Vic and I have a lovely working group, and we would encourage more people to join us if you really feel inspired by what you heard today and what you see in the toolkit. And always working to align company vision, mission, and resources. And what we mean by that is really taking a look at that overall culture, because that will ultimately help you in the long run make sure that you develop a program that can ebb and flow with time. You know, for example, even with communication, you look at social media now, what a great way to connect with people that didn't even exist just a few decades ago, or even less than that. So really thinking through some flexibility and knowing that health and wellness today means something different than it did 20 years ago. It will be different in the future. And I think that's the nice thing about health and wellness, and probably the frustrating part as we put programs together all at the same time, is it can be anything that you want it to be. So really engaging with both your employees and customers at the same time is a fantastic way to think about it. And in addition to the examples that we have from other companies, we did put some thought into some other third-party resources to inspire some thinking and really help with your planning process. So do visit the whole toolkit chapter. You can see the website now. Thank you, Sharon. And you can visit our chapter and really look at what we have put in there for you for more inspiration to help guide your thinking and really help encourage you to take those next steps. And then, Sharon, I'm going to turn it over to you for Q&A.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Vic. And this toolkit, as Kim and Vic have mentioned, it is an evolving platform. If you have a great example at your company and you want to be part of this global platform, we have a template that we'd be very happy to share with you and to see how we can publish your story and what you're doing internally with your own people. So we launched it in June. It will continue to evolve and improve, and we'd be very happy to showcase what you're doing at your company. So thank you very much to Kim and Fick for taking us through the agenda. So it was a quick 30 minutes overview of where we're going with the commitment on employee health and wellness, why it is so important for the Consumer Goods Forum to measure your progress. And I would like to restate Kim's request. Kim and Fick lead a working group who are looking at really how we can share best practices and learnings across the wider CGF membership on this topic. If you're interested in joining the working group, please do let me know. I'd be very happy to have you on board. So as I mentioned at the start of the webinar, we have an ample amount of time to get some of your questions. Either they can be sent directly to me by email, or you can use the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. So I'm just going to take firstly the questions I've received by email, and then I will open up the unmuting line so that everyone has a chance to raise some questions on the phone line. So I've received some questions by email, Kim and Fick, for you. Fick, the first one is for you. So it's a question on your journey for better health at the Johnson & Johnson company. Can you think of one program that you started that you've really seen employees connecting with and that you are really proud of? So Fick, that question is for you.
Thank you, Sharon, and really a great beginning for all of us together. One of the programs that I'm extremely proud of, we certainly offer programs that covered the spectrum of lifestyle-related health management throughout the years, from tobacco to tobacco cessation, to weight management, to nutritional support, to cardiovascular prevention approaches, physical activity, all of those which many of you are providing, and all really have shown to have a great impact on reducing population health across the J&J, workforce. So one program that I'm extremely proud of that it really comes from within. It is one of the assets we have, which is based on the corporate athlete program, which is from a company by the name of Human Performance Institute, and that is really one of Johnson & Johnson assets. Has been in Orlando, Florida for many, many years, really providing or addressing, human performance through the lens of energy management, which is a very unique approach. We certainly, and based on quite a bit of sports science and evidence, and really used by a multitude of corporations around the world. We implemented the program internally, and we applied the principles of that energy management. And the key thing that I am actually extremely proud of is the adoption rate by the business unit to do this type of training, which could be a half a day, 1 day, 2 days, at their location, at their site, taking their employees through identifying what is their purpose in life, what's their mission, how do you link that to their performance, not just at work, but at home and within communities, and how can they change the way they behave, and how can they establish rituals that help them to establish whether healthy eating, whether it's about becoming much more active and move, or move into aligning their spiritual direction to their mission. And I think that program really resonated very well with our businesses as well as with our employees, We have trained about almost 60,000 employees around the world, and we're on a mission to continue launching and training more for the next 5 years to achieve all of the goals. And really, impact has to do with people reporting their weight reduction, increased focus, reducing multitasking, as well as having higher level of energy throughout the day and night. So I know it's a long answer, but that's my answer, Sharon. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Vic, I'm sure if anyone is interested in finding out more about that program, you'd be happy to share, the details. Okay, great, thank you. I've received another question, and then I'll open up the floor. Kim, this is for you. I think you mentioned it in the webinar as well. It's what do you recommend first when a company decides to make a commitment to health and wellness?
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you for the question. I think, yeah, you heard us say it a little bit, is really looking at aligning with your core values and how your health and wellness program will live within your company culture. And one very important thing, and we kind of alluded to it, but I'll spell it out very clear here, is when you're thinking about health and wellness, and we're looking at the calendar, 2016 is looming very quickly, it's one of those things that we want to make sure and take the time that we've got a structure in place. So take the time to map this out. What are the legal things that we need to think about? What are the other core pieces of information that you need to have behind the scenes through your internal departments? How is the communications plan going to be executed? So I think as you're making the commitment to health and wellness, it can feel really good to start talking about it, but I strongly recommend that you really think about what your plan is and make sure that you've got your ducks in a row, so to speak, from a regulatory and legal perspective to ensure that as you go public and you start small, as Vic alluded to, you really have that ability to feel confident and keep building on a program knowing that you've got the internal infrastructure in place before you set forth publicly.
Great, thank you very much, Kim. So I'm just going to open the floor to anyone who's on the line. If we do have any questions, please do let me know. And of course, it is possible to connect with us after today's webinar. You'll see our Twitter handles, our websites here on the screen in front of you. So anyone who has any questions, please, the floor is open before we end today's webinar. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for your listening time today. We really appreciate you connecting and to sharing your data with us when we go to measure our progress next week. A big thank you to Kim and Vic, who drive this work stream. And again, if you're interested in being part of the working group, please let me know, and I'd be very happy to get you involved. If you have any other questions, the webinar is being recorded, and we will share the slides, and they'll be available on the website which you see here, tcgfhealthandwellness.com. So thank you very, very much, everybody, for your time today, and we look forward to continuing to working with you on driving employee health and wellness around the globe. Thank you.